Navy Lieutenant Kate Morgan floated through the quiet halls of Orbital Defense Platform Delta 7. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat bun, and her blue eyes scanned the control panels as she worked. She was doing her regular checks on the systems that kept Earth safe. It was a normal day, or so she thought. Kate had been on the space station for 6 months. She was good at her job and took it very seriously. Earth had built these platforms to watch for dangers from space. No one really expected to find anything, but Kate was always careful anyway. The first sign that something was wrong came when the lights flickered. Kate looked up from her tablet, a small frown on her face. "Control, this is Lieutenant Morgan. We have a power fluctuation in Sector 4. Can you check it out?" she said into her comm device. The voice that came back sounded confused. "We're not seeing anything on our end, Lieutenant." All systems read normal. Kate's frown deepened. She had been doing this job long enough to trust her instincts. Something wasn't right. "I'm going to check it myself," she said, pushing off from the wall and floating down the corridor. As she moved through the station, the strange feeling grew stronger. The air felt different somehow, heavier with an odd sweet smell she couldn't place. The hairs on the back of her neck stood up. She rounded a corner and froze. Through the large viewing window, she could see something that shouldn't be there. A ship, but unlike any ship she had ever seen before. It was huge, at least 3 times the size of their station. Its surface was black, but not a flat black. It seemed to swallow the light around it, like looking into a deep hole. Kate's heart raced as she hit the emergency button on her comm. "Control. We have an unidentified vessel approximately 500 meters from the station. How did it get so close without anyone seeing it?" Alarms began to blare throughout the station. Red emergency lights flashed in the corridors. The calm voice of Control couldn't hide the panic underneath. "Lieutenant, we have no readings of any vessel in your area. Are you certain of what you're seeing?" Kate stared at the impossible ship. "I'm looking right at it. How can you not see this on your scanners?" Before Control could answer, Kate noticed something even stranger. A part of the black ship was changing. A section of the hull slid open, revealing a soft purple light from within. It looked like an invitation. "They're opening an airlock," Kate said, her voice barely above a whisper. The next hour was a blur of activity. Kate's commanding officer, Captain Lynn Woods, arrived with a team of armed security personnel. They debated what to do about the mysterious ship that somehow didn't show up on any of their sensors. "We need to investigate," Captain Woods finally decided. "Lieutenant Morgan, since you were the first to spot it, you'll lead the team." Kate nodded, trying to hide her nervousness. She had never expected to be the one to make first contact with aliens, but she was a Navy officer and she would do her duty. They prepared carefully, checking their spacesuits and weapons. No one knew what to expect inside the strange ship. Kate led a team of 5 people, herself, 2 security officers named Greg and Olivia, a science officer named Mia, and a communications specialist named Paul. "Stay close and stay alert," Kate told her team as they approached the open airlock of the alien vessel. "We don't know what's waiting for us in there." They crossed from their station to the alien ship through a temporary bridge. The moment they stepped inside, Kate knew they had entered something truly alien. The walls seemed to be alive, pulsing with soft light that changed colors slowly. The corridor they entered was tall and curved, with no sharp edges anywhere. "The atmosphere reads as breathable," Mia said, looking at her scanner. "Temperature is slightly warmer than what we're used to, but within human comfort range." Kate hesitated, then made a decision. "Let's remove our helmets, but keep them handy. We'll be able to communicate better." As they took off their helmets, a sweet smell filled their noses. It wasn't unpleasant, but it was definitely not human. The air felt thick and warm, almost like being in a tropical greenhouse. "Does anyone else feel strange?" Paul asked, blinking rapidly. Kate felt it too. A lightness in her head, a warmth spreading through her body. "Stay focused," she ordered. "It might be an effect of the atmosphere. If anyone feels too disoriented, put your helmet back on." They moved deeper into the ship, following a path that seemed to be lit for them. The walls pulsed brighter where they were supposed to go, as if the ship itself was guiding them. "This technology is incredible," Mia whispered, running her scanner over the walls. "These aren't lights embedded in the walls. The material itself is generating the light. It's almost like the ship is alive." After walking for about 10 minutes, they came to a larger space. The corridor opened up into what seemed like a round room. In the center was a pool of glowing liquid, the same purple color they had seen from outside. The liquid moved gently, like it was breathing. Around the pool were objects that might have been furniture, though they were shapes that didn't quite make sense to human eyes. Strange items that could have been tools or art pieces were placed on raised platforms. "Wait here," Kate told her team. She could sense something important about this room. It felt private, personal. "I'll check it out first." Her team looked nervous but stayed at the entrance. Kate stepped carefully into the room, her boots making no sound on the smooth floor. The pool of glowing liquid drew her attention. She moved closer to examine it. That's when she saw movement in the liquid. Something was rising from the pool. Kate stood frozen as a figure emerged from the glowing purple water. It was clearly female in shape but unmistakably not human. Her skin shimmered with patterns that moved like stars in the night sky. Her eyes were large and purple, glowing slightly in the dim light. She had no hair, but her head was adorned with what looked like small crystals that caught the light. The alien woman rose from the pool, water dripping from her body. She hadn't noticed Kate yet. Her movements were graceful and slow, like she was performing a ritual. Then she turned and saw Kate standing there. The alien's eyes widened. Her mouth opened in a silent gasp. Her hands moved to cover herself in a gesture that was surprisingly human. In that moment of shock and vulnerability, Kate realized something important. Despite all the differences, some reactions were universal. The alien was embarrassed to be seen unclothed, and in that simple, human-like reaction, Kate found a connection to this strange being from another world. Kate quickly turned around, facing away from the alien woman. "I'm sorry," she said, though she knew the alien probably couldn't understand her words. "I didn't mean to intrude." Behind her, Kate heard a soft sound like chimes in a gentle breeze. She risked a glance back and saw the alien had wrapped herself in a shimmering material that seemed to flow like water, but held its shape like cloth. The alien was studying Kate with those large purple eyes, her head tilted to one side. Then the alien spoke. The sounds were unlike any language Kate had ever heard, musical and complex with tones that seemed to overlap each other. But strangely, Kate felt like she almost understood it, as if the meaning was just beyond her grasp. The alien took a step toward Kate, one hand extended. Kate stood her ground, though her heart was racing. The alien's fingers gently touched Kate's forehead, and suddenly Kate's mind was filled with images and feelings that weren't her own. She saw a vast empire among the stars, planets with landscapes no human had ever seen. She felt the weight of duty, of responsibility. She understood that the being before her was important. A leader, a royal figure among her kind. "Princess," Kate whispered, the word coming to her mind unbidden. The alien woman pulled her hand back, her eyes wide with surprise. She nodded slowly, then touched her own chest. "Velarix," she said, the word clear despite her strange accent. "Kate Morgan," Kate replied, pointing to herself. Before they could communicate further, Kate heard shouting from the corridor. Her team had grown worried by her long silence and was coming to check on her. The alien, Princess Velarix, tensed at the sound of unfamiliar voices. "It's okay," Kate said quickly, making calming gestures with her hands. "They're with me. Friends." When Greg and Olivia burst into the room with weapons drawn, Kate quickly stepped between them and the alien princess. "Stand down," she ordered. "She's not a threat." The next few hours were tense but productive. Using a mixture of gestures, drawings, and the strange mental connection that Velarix seemed able to establish through touch, they began to communicate. Mia worked on creating a basic translation system, recording the alien's speech patterns and matching them to simple English words. They learned that Velarix was indeed royalty, the crown princess of what she called the Ardani Imperium, a vast collection of worlds far from Earth. Her ship had come to Earth deliberately, though her exact purpose remained unclear due to the language barrier. When they finally returned to Delta 7 station, bringing Princess Velarix with them, she had agreed to come after much discussion. The station was in chaos. Earth's governments had been notified of the alien contact, and everyone wanted information and access to the visitor. Captain Woods met them at the airlock, her face stern but her eyes wide with amazement as she saw Velarix. "Lieutenant Morgan, you and your team will be debriefed immediately," she said. "Our guest will be escorted to the diplomatic quarters we've prepared." Kate frowned. "With all due respect, Captain, Princess Valeric seems most comfortable communicating with me. I think I should stay with her." After a brief argument, Captain Woods reluctantly agreed. Kate was assigned as Valeric's official liaison, responsible for helping the alien princess adjust to human customs and facilitating communication. 3 weeks passed quickly. Earth's leaders formed a special diplomatic team to interact with the alien visitor, but Valeric insisted that Kate remain her primary contact. The princess learned English with remarkable speed, though her pronunciation was still musical and strange. During this time, Kate learned more about why Valeric had come to Earth. The princess explained that her people had been watching humans for centuries, studying their development from afar. "Your species interests us," Valeric told Kate one evening as they sat in the diplomatic quarters that had been prepared on the station. "You are so young compared to my people, yet you adapt so quickly. You change, you grow, you evolve. The Ardani. We have remained the same for too long." Kate didn't fully understand what the princess meant, but she sensed there was something important Valeric wasn't telling her. Something about the way the alien princess watched her sometimes, with a mixture of hope and calculation in those purple eyes. Their peaceful first contact changed dramatically one morning when alarms blared throughout the station. Kate rushed to Valeric's quarters to find the princess already dressed in what appeared to be some kind of armor. A sleek, metallic suit that moved like a second skin. "They have found me," Valeric said, her voice grim. "The Void Fleet has arrived." "Who?" Kate asked, confused and alarmed by the princess's reaction. "Who has found you?" "Ancient enemies of my people," Valeric explained quickly as she gathered strange devices from around her quarters. "They have pursued me across the stars. I had hoped to complete my mission before they tracked me here, but I have failed." She looked at Kate with genuine regret. "I am sorry. I have brought danger to your world." As if to confirm her words, Captain Woods' voice came over the station's comm system. "All personnel to battle stations. Unidentified vessels have appeared near the lunar colonies. They are not responding to communications and have opened fire on our outposts." Kate stared at Valeric in shock. "Your enemies are attacking our moon base?" "Why? What do they want?" "They want me," Valeric said simply, "and they will destroy anything that stands between us." Her eyes met Kate's, filled with determination. "I must return to my ship. I can lead them away from your world." "No," Kate said firmly. "If these Void Fleet people are as dangerous as you say, you can't face them alone. Let us help you. Earth has defenses." Valeric shook her head sadly. "Your weapons would be useless against their technology. My ship has a chance, but only if I act quickly." Before Kate could argue further, Captain Woods appeared at the door, her face tense. "Lieutenant Morgan, we've received orders from Earth Command. You are to escort Princess Valeric to her vessel immediately. Our defense ships will provide cover for her departure." Kate was stunned. "You're letting her leave? Just like that?" "Those alien ships destroyed our lunar outpost in seconds," Woods said grimly. "Earth's governments have decided that helping the princess escape is our best option for avoiding direct conflict." As they hurried through the station toward the docking bay where Valeric's ship was still attached, Kate felt betrayed. After 3 weeks of building trust and friendship, Valeric had never mentioned she was being hunted, that she might bring danger to Earth. "You knew this could happen," Kate said accusingly as they ran. "You came to our world knowing these enemies might follow you." Valeric didn't deny it. "I had no choice, Kate Morgan. The future of my people depends on what I came here to find." She glanced at Kate with an expression that seemed almost sad. "And I have found it." When they reached the docking bay, Valeric suddenly stopped and turned to Kate. "Come with me," she said. "What?" Kate was shocked by the offer. "Your world is now in danger because of me," Valeric explained. "The Void Fleet will not leave simply because I do. They will want to ensure nothing of value remains. Come with me, help me complete my mission, and I will ensure the Ardani Imperium protects Earth." Kate hesitated. Leave Earth? Travel among the stars with this alien princess she barely knew? It seemed insane. And yet something in Valeric's eyes told her this was important. Perhaps the most important decision she would ever make. "What is your mission?" Kate asked. "Tell me the truth." Valeric placed her hand gently on Kate's forehead, just as she had done during their first meeting. Once again, Kate's mind filled with images, but this time they were darker, more urgent. She saw the Ardani people, beautiful and advanced but declining, their numbers dwindling, their children becoming rare. "We are dying," Velarix whispered, her voice filled with the weight of her people's fate. "And something in your kind, in your genetic material, may save us." Kate stared at Velarix, trying to process what she had just learned. The Ardani were dying out as a species. They needed something from humans, from her, to survive. "Why me?" Kate asked. "Out of all the humans on Earth, why did you choose me?" Velarix's expression softened. "We scanned your world from orbit. Your genetic pattern showed a rare compatibility with our own. It is something we have been searching for across many star systems." Before Kate could respond, the station shook violently. The attack had begun. Alarms blared even louder, and emergency lights flashed in the corridor. "We have no more time," Velarix said urgently. "You must decide now, Kate Morgan." Kate took a deep breath. Her duty was to Earth, to her people. But if what Velarix said was true, the Void Fleet would attack regardless of whether she stayed or left. At least with Velarix, she might be able to help secure protection for Earth from the Ardani Imperium. "I'll come with you," she decided. "But I need to know everything, no more secrets." Velarix nodded solemnly. "You have my word." They rushed to Velarix's ship just as another explosion rocked the station. Captain Woods was waiting for them at the airlock. "Lieutenant Morgan, what are you doing?" she demanded when she saw Kate preparing to board the alien vessel. "Trying to save Earth," Kate replied. She quickly explained what Velarix had told her about the Void Fleet and the Ardani's need for human genetic material. Woods looked skeptical, but another blast hit the station, this one closer than before. "We don't have time to debate this. If there's even a chance you can help secure alien protection for Earth." She trailed off, then straightened her shoulders. "I'll report that you were ordered to accompany the princess as an Earth ambassador." Kate nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Captain." Inside Velarix's ship, everything was just as strange and beautiful as Kate remembered. The living walls pulsed with urgency now, the colors faster and more intense. Velarix moved quickly through the corridors, leading Kate to what appeared to be the control center of the vessel. The room was circular, with no visible controls or screens as humans would understand them. Instead, there was a raised platform in the center. Velarix stepped onto it, and the floor around her lit up. The walls of the room became transparent, giving them a perfect view of space around them and the battle that was unfolding. Kate gasped. The Void Fleet ships were nothing like Velarix's elegant vessel. They were angular and sharp, with spikes protruding from their hulls. They looked like weapons themselves, designed to inspire fear. There were 5 of them, smaller than Velarix's ship but moving with deadly purpose. Earth's defense ships looked tiny and primitive in comparison. They fired their weapons at the alien vessels, but their shots seemed to dissolve before even reaching their targets. "Your weapons cannot harm them," Velarix said sadly. "The Void Fleet has defenses far beyond your technology." She raised her arms, and the ship responded to her movements. Kate felt a subtle shift as the vessel detached from the station and began to move. On the transparent walls, she could see they were pulling away from Delta 7. "I will draw them away from your station," Velarix explained. "My ship is faster. They will follow me." Sure enough, as soon as Velarix's ship began to move quickly away from Earth, 3 of the 5 Void Fleet vessels changed course to pursue them. The other 2 remained, still attacking the human defenses. "They're not all following us," Kate pointed out, worried for her fellow officers still on the station. "No," Velarix agreed grimly. "They will leave enough forces to ensure your world understands the consequences of sheltering me." She looked at Kate with genuine regret. "I am truly sorry for bringing this upon your people." Kate watched helplessly as the battle around Earth grew smaller behind them. Velarix's ship accelerated at a speed that should have crushed them, yet Kate felt no pressure, no sensation of movement at all. "Where are we going?" she asked. "To a safe place first," Velarix replied. "A hidden outpost where we can contact my mother, the Empress. She will send reinforcements to protect your world." The ship suddenly lurched to one side. One of the pursuing Void ships had fired upon them, the energy blast glancing off their hull. "Their weapons can harm us," Velarix explained, her hands moving in complex patterns as she guided the ship. "But my vessel is designed for speed and stealth, not battle." Another blast hit them, this one more direct. The lights in the ship flickered, and Kate heard a sound like a wounded animal. "The living ship was in pain. Can I help?" Kate asked, feeling useless as she watched Velarix struggle to control the ship and evade their attackers. Velarix hesitated, then nodded. Yes, come here. Kate stepped onto the platform beside the princess. Valarix took Kate's hand and placed it on a particular spot on the platform. Immediately, Kate felt a strange connection form between herself, Valarix, and the ship itself. It was as if they were becoming one entity. Think of movement, Valarix instructed. Think of flowing water, of wind between trees. The ship responds to intent and imagery more than specific commands. Kate closed her eyes and did as she was told. She imagined a river winding through a forest, changing direction suddenly, unpredictably. She felt the ship respond, its movements becoming more fluid, harder for their pursuers to predict. Together, they guided the ship in a dance through space, evading the worst of the attacks. From the Void Fleet, Valarix's knowledge and Kate's human unpredictability combined to create a pattern the enemy ships couldn't easily track. After what felt like hours of this tense chase, Valarix guided them toward a small rocky moon orbiting a gas giant. The moon appeared lifeless and unremarkable, but as they approached, a section of its surface seemed to ripple and part, revealing a hidden docking bay beneath. One of our secret outposts, Valarix explained as the ship slipped into the concealed hangar, the entrance sealed behind them, hiding them from their pursuers. Inside the hidden base, Kate was surprised to find other Ardani. They were similar to Valarix, tall, with the same shimmering skin and large, expressive eyes, but they deferred to her with bows and formal gestures that confirmed her royal status. One Ardani approached them immediately. He was older than Valarix, with patterns on his skin that seemed more faded, less vibrant. "Crown Princess," he said in the musical language of the Ardani, "we received word of the Void Fleet's attack. Is this—" He trailed off, looking at Kate with undisguised curiosity and hope. "Yes, Mentor Kylor," Valarix replied. "This is Kate Morgan. Her genetic pattern is the one we detected from orbit. The compatibility is even stronger than our initial scans suggested." The older Ardani, Mentor Kylor, moved closer to Kate, studying her with an intensity that made her uncomfortable. "You have told her why she is here?" he asked Valarix. "Some of it," Valarix admitted, "but there has been little time for full explanations." Kylor nodded, then addressed Kate directly. "Human, your presence here is more significant than you can imagine. For centuries, the Ardani have been unable to produce healthy offspring. Our population has dwindled to less than 1/10 of what it once was. Without new genetic material, we face extinction within 3 generations." Kate tried to take in the enormity of what he was saying. An entire advanced civilization was dying out, and somehow, her DNA might hold the key to saving them. "What is it about me that's special?" she asked. "I'm just an ordinary human," Kylor smiled sadly. "There is no such thing as an ordinary human. Your species has more genetic diversity than any other we have encountered, and you, Kate Morgan, have a rare genetic marker that appears compatible with our royal bloodline." He turned to Valarix. "The Empress must be informed immediately, and we must begin the testing to confirm full compatibility." "My mother already knows," Valarix said. "I sent a secure transmission before the Void Fleet attacked. She is gathering the Great Fleet as we speak." She looked at Kate. "But yes, we should begin the testing. With your permission, Kate Morgan." Kate hesitated. "What does this testing involve?" "Nothing invasive," Valarix assured her. "We need only small samples, blood, tissue, cellular material. Our methods are painless, and if I'm compatible?" Kate asked. "What then?" Valarix and Kylor exchanged glances. There was something they still weren't telling her. "Let us confirm the compatibility first," Valarix said carefully. "Then we will discuss the next steps." Kate didn't like the evasion, but she had come this far. "Fine. But remember your promise, no more secrets." The testing facility was unlike any medical room Kate had seen on Earth. The equipment looked more like art than science. Beautiful curved shapes of materials that seemed to shift between solid and liquid states. The Ardani scientists moved with precise, graceful movements as they collected samples from both Kate and Valarix. As Kate watched them work, a sudden realization hit her. "The Void Fleet," she said. "They're trying to stop you from finding compatible genetic material, aren't they? They want the Ardani to die out." Valarix nodded grimly. "The Void and the Ardani have been enemies for millennia. Once, long ago, we were one people, but a great schism divided us. The Void chose to enhance their bodies with mechanical parts, becoming cold, logical, devoid of emotion. The Ardani chose to enhance our natural biology, strengthening our connection to life itself. Kate stared at Valarix in shock. The alien princess was kneeling before her, treating her with a reverence that made Kate deeply uncomfortable. "Please get up," Kate said, reaching out to help Valarix to her feet. "I'm not some prophesied savior. I'm just a Navy lieutenant who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time." Valarix rose gracefully but kept her eyes fixed on Kate with a new intensity. "You may not believe in our prophecies, but the genetic compatibility cannot be denied. It is real, and it is our only hope." Before Kate could respond, alarms began to sound throughout the hidden base. The walls pulsed with urgent red light. "They've found us," Kyler said, his voice tight with fear. "The Void Fleet has detected our outpost." Valarix's expression hardened. "We must leave immediately. Prepare the ship." "There's no time," one of the scientists argued. "Their ships are already entering the moon's orbit. They will target any vessel that attempts to leave." "Then we fight," Valarix decided. She turned to Kate. "Our outpost has defenses, but they were not designed to withstand a direct assault from multiple void vessels. We must hold them off until help arrives." "What help?" Kate asked. "My mother," Valarix replied. "The Empress received my message. The Great Fleet will come, but they are 3 days away at maximum speed." 3 days. Kate didn't need military training to know that was too long. "They wouldn't last 3 hours under heavy attack, let alone 3 days. Is there another way out?" she asked. "A back door? Some way to slip past them?" Kylor and Valarix exchanged looks. "There is one possibility," Kyler said slowly. "The emergency pod. It is small, designed for stealth rather than speed. It might go undetected." "But it can only carry one passenger," Valarix added. She looked at Kate meaningfully. "You." Kate understood immediately what they were suggesting. "No, I'm not leaving you all here to die while I escape." "You must," Valarix insisted. "If you are captured by the Void, all is lost. The future of my people depends on your survival." Before Kate could argue further, the base shook violently. The attack had begun. Pieces of the ceiling fell around them as the structure took its first hits from the Void Fleet's weapons. "Take her to the pod," Valarix ordered Kylor. "I will coordinate our defenses." Kyler grabbed Kate's arm, but she pulled away. "No, I didn't come this far to run away. I can help fight." Valarix stepped closer to Kate. Her purple eyes seemed to see right through to Kate's soul. "Kate Morgan, I understand your warrior spirit. It is one of the qualities that makes humans so remarkable. But this is not your battle to die in." Another blast hit the base, stronger than the first. Emergency lights flickered, and Kate heard the sound of distant explosions. "They've breached the outer defenses," a voice announced over the base's communication system. "Void troops are entering the north sector." Valarix made a quick decision. "Come, if you will not take the pod alone, then we will go together." She led Kate and Kyler through a series of corridors that twisted and changed as they ran. The living architecture of the Ardani base reconfiguring itself to create the most direct path to their destination. Behind them, they could hear the sounds of battle, strange energy weapons, and the cries of wounded Ardani. They reached a small chamber deep within the base. Inside was what looked like a seed pod, large enough for perhaps 2 people to fit inside if they were very close. "This is our emergency vessel," Valarix explained. "It is grown, not built, designed to mimic natural space debris. The void sensors should overlook it." Another violent shake nearly knocked them off their feet. The base was beginning to fail under the assault. "Princess, you must go now," Kylor urged. "I will remain to ensure the pod launches safely." Valarix embraced the older Ardani. "Thank you, old friend. May we meet again in better times," Kylor smiled sadly. "Go, my princess. Fulfill the prophecy." The pod opened like a flower, revealing a small space inside lined with the same living material as the Ardani ship. Valarix climbed in first, then helped Kate inside. They had to press close together to fit, their faces only inches apart. The pod closed around them, sealing with a soft sound. Inside, it was dim, lit only by the faint bioluminescence of the walls. Kate could feel the warmth of Valarix's body against hers, could hear the alien's breathing slightly faster than human rhythm. "What now?" Kate whispered. "Now we wait," Valarix replied. "Kyler will launch us when the moment is right, when the Void Fleet is focused on their attack." They lay in tense silence for several minutes. Kate could feel every tremor as the base sustained more damage. She thought of the Ardani still fighting, sacrificing themselves so that she and Valarix could escape, people she had just met, dying for her because of some genetic quirk she happened to possess. "I'm sorry," she said softly. Valeric shifted slightly to look at her better in the dim light. For what? For all of this. Your people dying, your base being destroyed. It's because of me, isn't it? Because the Void Fleet knows you found me. Valeric's expression softened. No, Kate Morgan. The Void has sought our destruction for centuries. This is just their latest attack. If anything, your presence gives us hope where before there was none. Suddenly, they felt a sharp jolt. The pod had launched. They were thrown against each other as the small vessel spun rapidly away from the moon base, using the force of the explosion that was destroying the outpost as additional propulsion. Through a small, clear section of the pod's wall, Kate could see the base shrinking behind them, engulfed in fire as the Void Fleet's weapons tore it apart. She thought of Kyler and the other Ardani they had left behind, and felt sick with guilt. They're all dying, she whispered. They die so that our people might live, Valeric said, her voice heavy with grief but also determination. We must ensure their sacrifice is not in vain. The pod continued to spin and tumble, making it look like just another piece of debris from the destroyed base. The strategy seemed to be working. None of the Void ships changed course to pursue them. Where are we going? Kate asked after they had been drifting for what felt like hours. Wherever the currents of space take us for now, Valeric replied. The pod has minimal propulsion. Once we are far enough from the Void Fleet, we can set a course for the rendezvous point where my mother's fleet will arrive. Kate was about to ask another question when a shadow fell across the pod. Looking through the clear section, she saw a massive ship passing above them. Not one of the angular Void vessels, but something else entirely. It was enormous, dwarfing even Valeric's ship, and seemed to be made of the same living material but on a much grander scale. The Empress, Valeric breathed, her voice filled with relief and awe. She came early. The huge ship extended what looked like tendrils of light toward their small pod. Kate felt a gentle tug as they were drawn toward the giant vessel. We're being brought aboard, Valeric explained. We're safe now. The inside of the Empress's ship made Valeric's vessel look primitive by comparison. The walls sang with color and light, the architecture so advanced it seemed almost magical to Kate's human eyes. They were greeted by a procession of Ardani, all bowing deeply to Valeric and looking at Kate with undisguised curiosity and hope. At the end of the procession stood a figure that could only be the Empress herself. She was taller than the others, her skin patterns more complex and brilliant. She wore what appeared to be a living crown that moved and shifted on her head like a galaxy in motion. Mother, Valeric said, dropping to one knee before the Empress. You came sooner than expected. I felt your danger, the Empress replied, her voice deeper and more resonant than her daughter's. A mother knows when her child is threatened. Her gaze shifted to Kate, who stood awkwardly, unsure of the proper protocol for meeting an alien Empress. And this is the human, the Empress said, the one whose genetic pattern matched the prophecy. Kate bowed her head, figuring it was the safest response. My name is Kate Morgan, Your Majesty. I'm a lieutenant in the United States Navy. To Kate's surprise, the Empress approached and took her hands. The touch sent a tingling sensation up Kate's arms. You do not understand yet what you mean to us, the Empress said gently. But you will. For now, know that you have my gratitude and the gratitude of all Ardani. She released Kate's hands and turned to Valeric's. The Void Fleet destroyed the outpost completely. There were no survivors. Valeric's closed her eyes briefly in grief. And Earth? What news? The Void ships there have been engaged by our advance forces, the Empress replied. The battle continues, but we have prevented them from causing significant damage to the human world. Relief washed over Kate. Earth was being protected. Her people were safe, at least for now. What happens next? She asked. You said I'm compatible with your royal bloodline. What exactly does that mean for me? The Empress and Valeric exchanged looks, having one of those silent communications that Kate had noticed the Ardani could share. It is time to tell her everything, the Empress decided. She has earned that right. Valeric nodded and turned to Kate. Among my people, the royal bloodline carries special properties. We are the only Ardani still capable of natural reproduction, though even for us it has become increasingly difficult. For generations we have searched for genetic material that could revitalize our people. Kate felt the weight of the Empress's words settle on her shoulders. They weren't just asking for a small DNA sample. They wanted her to help create a child, a hybrid between human and Ardani. A child that would change the future of an entire alien civilization. I need time to think about this, Kate said, her voice steadier than she felt. This is a lot to process, the Empress nodded gracefully. Of course, such a decision cannot be made hastily. You will have quarters prepared where you can rest and consider our request. As Kate was led away by Ardani attendants, she caught Valarix looking at her with an expression that seemed almost vulnerable. For all her royal status and alien nature, the princess was placing her hopes in Kate's hands. The quarters they gave her were beautiful, with walls that shifted colors based on her mood and furniture that adjusted to perfectly fit her human body. But Kate barely noticed the luxury. Her mind was racing with the implications of what she had been asked to do. If she agreed, she would be changing the course of an entire species. If she refused, she might be condemning the Ardani to extinction. And somewhere in the back of her mind was a simpler, more personal question. What would this mean for her? Would she ever see Earth again? Would she be expected to help raise this hybrid child? A soft chime indicated someone at her door. When it opened, Valarix stood there, no longer in her formal attire but in simpler clothing that reminded Kate of their first meeting. "May I come in?" the princess asked. Kate nodded and Valarix entered, the door closing silently behind her. "I wanted to speak with you alone," Valarix said, sitting across from Kate. "Away from the formality of the royal court." "I appreciate that," Kate replied. "I have so many questions I don't even know where to start." Valarix smiled slightly. "Then perhaps I should start by telling you what is not being said in the official discussions. The truth that even my mother speaks of only in private." Kate leaned forward, intrigued. "The Void and the Ardani were once one species, as I told you," Valarix began. "But I didn't tell you why we split. It was because of a fundamental disagreement about the purpose of life itself." She paused, her hands moving in graceful gestures as she spoke, as if trying to shape the concepts in the air between them. The Ardani believe that life is meant to be experienced in all its messy, emotional fullness. We embrace connection, feeling, the unpredictable nature of living things. The Void rejected this. They saw emotion as weakness, organic bodies as flawed. They began replacing parts of themselves with machinery, seeking perfect logic, perfect control. Over generations, they changed themselves so much that they could no longer reproduce naturally. They clone themselves now, making exact copies with predetermined functions. They see it as evolution. We see it as a kind of death. Kate thought about this. And now the Ardani can't reproduce either. Isn't that ironic? Valarix's expression saddened. Yes, our pursuit of biological perfection led us to over-engineer our own genetics. We thought we were making ourselves better, more connected to the living universe. Instead, we created our own kind of sterility. She looked directly at Kate. That is why humans fascinate us. You are chaotic, diverse, adaptable. You are everything we lost. And the child? Kate asked. What would happen to it? The child would be raised as royalty, Valarix said, with all the privilege and responsibility that entails. It would be the first of a new Ardani bloodline, one that would include human adaptability and diversity. Kate took a deep breath. And what about me? What happens to me after you have what you need? Valarix looked genuinely surprised by the question. You would be honored among our people. You would have a place in the royal household for as long as you wish to stay. And yes, you could return to Earth if that was your desire. Though we would hope you might choose to remain at least for a time, to help the child understand its human heritage. Kate stood up and walked to the window that looked out into space. Stars streamed past as the great ship moved at incredible speed. When I was a little girl, she said quietly, I used to look up at the stars and wonder if anyone was looking back. I never imagined I'd be out here among them making a decision like this. She turned back to face Valarix. If I agree to this, I want something in return. Name it, Valarix said without hesitation. A formal alliance between Earth and the Ardani Imperium. Protection for my world against the Void and any other threats. And knowledge. Not all your technology, I understand some of it might be too advanced for us, but enough to help Earth advance. To prepare for life among the stars. Valarix smiled, a genuine expression of respect. You bargain well, Kate Morgan. I can agree to those terms, and I believe my mother will as well. Earth would become a protected world under the Ardani Imperium, with access to appropriate knowledge and technology. Kate nodded, her decision made. Then I agree. The process was nothing like Kate had imagined. There were no invasive procedures, no clinical extractions. Instead, it was almost ceremonial. In a chamber deep within the Empress's ship, Kate and Velarix participated in a ritual that was part science, part spiritual tradition. They stood facing each other in a pool of the same glowing liquid Kate had first seen Velarix in, the princess's bathing chamber. She now realized had been a sacred space. The Empress spoke words in the ancient Ardani language as attendants moved around them in choreographed patterns. Kate felt a warm, tingling sensation where the liquid touched her skin. Velarix reached out and took her hands, and the tingling intensified, spreading up her arms and throughout her body. Our genetic material is being exchanged through the ceremonial waters, Velarix explained softly. The process is guided by the attendants, who are our most skilled genetic artists. The liquid around them began to glow more brightly, changing from purple to a brilliant blue-white. Kate felt lightheaded but not uncomfortable. The sensation was almost pleasant, like being gently held by invisible hands. The Empress stepped forward and placed her hands over Kate and Velarix's joined ones. The light pulsed once, intensely bright, then settled back to its usual glow. "It is done," the Empress announced. "The new life has begun." Kate looked down and saw a small glowing orb floating in the liquid between her and Velarix. It was no bigger than a marble, but it shimmered with complex patterns of light. That's the child?" Kate asked in wonder. "The beginning of one," Velarix corrected. "It will grow here in the sacred waters for one full cycle of our home world around its sun, what you would call a year. Then it will be ready to emerge into the world." As Kate watched, the tiny orb was carefully collected by one of the attendants and placed in a special container filled with the same glowing liquid. The container was sealed and placed in an alcove in the wall, where it would be constantly monitored. "You have given us hope, Kate Morgan," the Empress said, placing a hand on Kate's shoulder. "The first new royal child in 3 generations. And if the prophecy is true, this is just the beginning." In the days that followed, Kate was treated with a new level of respect and reverence by the Ardani. News of the successful joining ceremony spread throughout the Imperium, bringing joy to a people who had been facing extinction. Meanwhile, the war with the Void Fleet continued. The Ardani ships, led by the Empress herself, engaged the enemy vessels that had attacked Earth. Kate watched the battle from the safety of the royal ship, amazed by the advanced weapons and tactics of both sides. The Void ships were powerful and precise, their attacks calculated for maximum damage. But the Ardani vessels moved with an organic fluidity that made them difficult targets, and their weapons seemed to adapt to the Void defenses, becoming more effective with each exchange. When the battle was over, the Void fleet had been driven back, though not destroyed. 3 of their ships escaped into deep space, surely to return with reinforcements later. "This is not the end of the conflict," the Empress told Kate as they watched the enemy retreat. "The Void will never accept our new path. They see our attempt to diversify our genetics as an abomination." "Then we'll be ready for them," Kate said with determination. "Earth will stand with the Ardani." True to her word, Velarix ensured that a formal alliance was established between Earth and the Ardani Imperium. Kate served as the human representative during the negotiations, which took place on the Empress's ship in orbit around Earth. Earth's leaders were initially skeptical of the alien visitors, but the Ardani had proven their goodwill by defending the planet against the Void Fleet, and the technological and scientific knowledge they offered as part of the alliance was too valuable to refuse. Under the terms of the treaty, Earth became a protected world of the Ardani Imperium. Ardani scientists would work with human counterparts to gradually introduce new technologies that would help Earth advance without causing cultural disruption. In return, more humans with compatible genetic patterns would be invited, always as volunteers, to help diversify the Ardani royal bloodline. 6 months after the ceremony, Kate returned to Earth for a visit. She had been appointed as the official Ardani ambassador to her home world, a position that allowed her to move between the 2 civilizations. Captain Woods met her at the newly constructed Ardani embassy in what had once been a national park in Colorado.